Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network. Yo! Oh my God!
Yo.
That was the craziest
Yo!
It's Yo MMA Rap with Louis J. Gomez and Dave Smith.
Yo, 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 it's your boy, Louis J. Gomez, Puerto Rican Rattlesnake, King of Things, the point guard of podcasting himself.
It's an
legend,
honor.
living legend.
It's crazy to be in your presence sometimes.
Am I not, though, a living legend?
I would
the
I would
smoke's
argue
gonna
yes.
clear, and everyone's going to go, oh, yeah, that was Louis J. Gomez. Wow. We got to talk to him daily. Natalie, Coop, you How about that?
Your obnoxious, out-of-control narcissism aside, you are kind of making your mark on this goddamn world,
Good.
Louis.
Goddamn
You
right. Welcome to the Gas Digital Network. G is in Gomez. East Village, we're killing it from the Gas Digital Network live. If you guys love the show, subscribe at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Use the promo code YOMMA. Get a 7-day free trial. Get instant access to the on-demand library for this show and every other show on the network. Thousands of hours of uncensored, ad-free content that are not available anywhere else in the motherfucking world. And by the way, they're going to shut this down eventually. Just so you know, if you think that all the hosting companies eventually are going to say we can't say the shit we say, 10 years from now, it ain't happening, Jax.
Yeah, we'll
Download
be
this
fine.
now, put it on a hard drive because it ain't getting better. Trust me on this one.
10 years from now, we're going to be, it's so much better.
Whoa!
We are so rich.
Here we are from the network. Turns out, this is crazy. We really took a crazy turn.
All the incentives just lined up for us to go harder and harder. By the way, I would say on the topic of you being a living legend and Gas Digital Network, what I'm just thinking about in my mind now is, and this just popped in, I haven't thought about this in years, but I still do take full credit for all of this.
What?
That I
Get out of town.
I don't know if you remember this, but tell me if this is true or
No,
false.
I'm going to buy you a ticket. You need to go.
Well, you can afford to buy me a ticket because I gave you this Gas
a fuck.
Digital Network where
It's
you
a
make all
train
this
ticket.
money.
It's a train ticket.
Bought me up to business class on that train ticket. Can I get a quiet car?
Sometimes train tickets are more than airplane tickets, just so everyone knows. Go ahead.
Amtrak
Anyway,
is
you were
not
you were
cheap.
saying?
Back when we were, I think it was around the time when we both had our podcasts at Stand Up Labs. If the hardcore fans remember that iteration.
Probably, you know who probably remembers that? Yo Kratom.com, home of the $60 kilo.
They remember.
It wouldn't even be possible to do the show without them.
They're that hardcore that they probably remember. The people at Yo Kratom remember. And if I'm judging by podcast download numbers, also about 2% of my current audience remembers.
Was
from
Yo
back then.
Kratom.
Was Yo Kratom at the time. Was listening at all back then. But I remember saying when people were starting up these podcast networks, and I said to you, I go, Louis, you got to be in charge of one of these things. I go, you got to get like a team under you working where you're the boss and you're running this because you'll be the best at it.
I will be.
By far.
I will
And and you remember I said that to you, and I said it
remember.
over and over.
And you
I
were
kept
wrong.
saying,
Your Mom's House Network is out there crushing it right now.
yeah. Well,
Tom Segura is the best at it.
I certainly was guilty of a little hyperbole
You
when
were.
I said best.
Yeah.
I should have said you'll
Up
be
there.
you'll be there.
You'll be
there.
do
You're
some
in the you're in the conversation.
True.
And then you yada yada yada. It's here.
Here we are.
The yada 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 part was you building it.
The
But,
yada, yada, yada
it was
part. There's
my
a lot of cocaine in those yada yada yadas, folks. The yada 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 years, they call them. They were fueled by blow.
Give Davis 5%, like Artem Lebov.
I honestly make more money off this company than if I had 5%. The 5% might bring me down.
It would actually hurt you. You don't.
I
wanna
don't-
take
I don't
5%
want
this
any of
company. It
it.
would really.
I want to keep cashing my
Natalie,
checks.
moving forward, and I need you to make this happen now during the show. Moving forward, meaning right now. Anytime Vic interjects out of nowhere, I need you to hit the Undertaker gong. Please.
I'll make it happen. Vic, please don't chime in for about 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, I don't look, Vic, I love your chimes, okay, but it's.
But you want there to just be a thing where we almost forget Vic's a part of the
I
show. and then
forgot
we go,
that Vic was even
no,
here.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
my God.
Ooh, Vic.
Oh, Dave and Lewis, you didn't think you could just have a conversation, the two of you.
Vic, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I'm having a good one. How are you guys doing?
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good. My sister made a great spread. My family was a little separated, but we made the best of it, and we won. We won. How about you guys?
My Thanksgiving was great. How was yours, Dave?
All right, great Thanksgiving.
Where'd you do it at?
Well, I did. We switch off years with Thanksgiving between my family and my wife's family. So we did it at my family this year, but then we did like another, like on Saturday.
Yeah.
We did like a Thanksgiving thing with her family.
Was it all
afterward.
leftovers from their Thanksgiving?
No. Like they made
a brand new
Thanksgiving.
fucking spread. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're Italian. When it comes to food, they don't fuck around. Yeah. But I was on the road Friday, so I did Thursday at my family's house, at my mother's house, and then Friday I was on the road, and then Saturday came back and did another one. But
And
it was
who
great.
Who had the better food?
Look, you're not asking me who had the better banking. You know what I mean? The Jews or the Italians who had the better food that's not our strength.
Who was controlling the weather better that afternoon?
That we were way better,
Okay,
way better.
sure.
We controlled it on the other Thanksgiving that we weren't even a part of. Look, Italians' food is
If the
their
Jews
strength.
controlled the weather, why would they ever make it rain? Like, wouldn't it just be like 99% of the time just sunny,
because
beautiful weather?
you have to know that we can bring rain down on you.
But I'm just saying, like, what Jews are going like, oh, it'd be nice if it rained today, or it's nice to have some sleet or a fucking tornado.
Yeah, really, Jews complain about the weather more than any other
Right.
group. I highly doubt.
Where do all the Jews live that I know?
Yeah, if we control the weather, how come we're always saying it's a bit too hot in here?
Boca Raton.
Yeah.
And I understand that. If the Jews control the weather, it would be year-round Boca Raton all around the United States and the world, to be honest.
Or at least the places where there's Jews. New York, Israel, L.A., Boca Raton.
That's it. That's where all the
Pretty
Jews
much
are.
it.
All right, look, we have a lot to talk about on today's show. It is a massive MMA week. I haven't been paying attention at all to the world of MMA, so everything on this
I
week,
swear, I just looked down at the. I've been busy with holidays and shit, and I just looked down at the card and I was like, "Oh, Wonder Boy Thompson, Kevin Holland. Did I miss that?" And then saw the date, and I was like, "Oh, okay, good, because this is real. That would be really bad if I didn't watch that for this show."
My Thanksgiving, by the way, was great. Everyone, thanks for caring and thanks for asking.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was rude. And what did you what did you do? Your boy was with his mom out of town,
Yeah,
right?
they left. They were
went
out
to
of
her
town.
family's.
Yeah, so my girlfriend is in town. She lives in LA, and she came to visit for the holiday, and she's actually here for the entire month. And
It's a lot of time to spend with a girlfriend.
now I get to know her. Now
Yeah,
I get to finally get to
interesting.
know who this girl is. Because before this, it's been a lot of like, hey, we spent 5 days together, very intense, very like, now it's like, okay, let's spread our fucking wings for a month and see how it really goes, right?
Yeah.
And look, I'll tell you right now, she passed the test with flying colors. We cooked 2 dishes for Thanksgiving. We cooked a ham.
That's the test. Just 2 dishes.
Well, my sister was taking care of all Thanksgiving
Oh,
dinner.
okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking this was the
No, we just had,
entirety of
we had a
Thanksgiving
ham
dinner.
and we had gravy. That's all we had for Thanksgiving. No, my sister did everything else. She did the
How's your
turkey,
ham?
she did
Would you like a
mashed
cup of
potatoes.
gravy?
We did the ham and we did our macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Both came out fire. My chick took the lead on the mac and cheese, which I'll tell you right now, my chick's hot. She's a hot fucking broad. Natalie, you're a lesbian. Come on.
She's pretty hot. I was going to ask if you used the video that you showed us on Rap to make the mac and cheese.
We did. Well, it turned out she had made this recipe before. So she just took the lead on it all. And I will tell you right now, it was a breath of fresh air. It was a sigh of relief because she's so hot that I was like, there's no way she's going to be able to cook. It's going to be, she's a dancer. Her life has been easy thus far. It's not been like me and this girl don't have the same life.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like my wife, I love my wife to death, and she's a really great cook. And like if she couldn't cook, I'd still fucking marry her and everything.
Of course.
But I'm really glad she can cook.
Of course. And Lauren's hot
It's a
too. Lauren's
huge
beautiful.
thing,
Lauren's a
too.
beautiful girl.
All right,
Even after 2 kids.
Okay, to tell you by the fourth
Would
time
still
time you
smash.
said it, it got a
Would
little
still-
uncomfortable.
would
All right,
still
bro.
smash.
Yeah, she is.
My son said that. I was like, we're going to go see Dave and Lauren. And he was like, Lauren? He was like, wow, she's so beautiful. And I was like, I could tell he had a thing for Lauren.
He's had a thing for Lauren since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
I remember he was one time when he was like 6 years old, and he came over to our house, and then you came over and like met us, like we were watching him for a few hours, and he came over and you were like, and he was saying goodbye, and we were like, bye. I was like, bye, James, good to see you. And he goes, thank Dave and Lauren for like taking you out or wherever we took them. And he was like, thank you. And he said, and it was when we first started dating, me and Lauren. And you go, Dave's girlfriend's really cool, right? And James just goes, he's 6 and doesn't know any better. He goes, yeah, and really pretty too, just in front of everyone.
Hell yeah.
It was great. James is moving in on my chick.
James a little pimp.
He is.
Yeah,
he does have your genes.
Yeah, he really does.
Yes. But it is great. Having a chick who's like a really great cook. I mean, I know this is the oldest wisdom in the history of wisdom, but it just makes life so much better.
Yeah.
It's just so much better.
Just want a chick who can cook, a girl who can clean a little bit, a girl who can like just, like traditional roles to a certain degree. I'm not a fucking conservative weirdo like Dave Smith and his fucking whole band of fucking Republicaneers or whatever you guys call
We're
yourselves.
literally a whole separate party.
You're
Have you learned nothing about my band?
Libertarians.
Yes, that's it.
The libertards, as we call them in the non-political circles.
No one calls us that.
The Republicans, the libertards, and the Democrats. That's what we call all you guys.
I thought
Just
you were
so
going
you
to
know.
go. Fat is not where I thought you were going to go with that.
Yeah, dude.
We have really gone off the rails.
Hold on.
This round.
What's that?
Oh my God!
What the hell is that?
He's here!
Ah, Vic's here! Oh my God! Nobody expected Vic to show up.
It's pandemonium.
It makes it sound like I'm the bearer of bad news. Now I am truly pig vomit with this song.
It worked so much better than I thought it was gonna work. It ruled. What were you saying, Vic?
No, I was just saying we're off. We're just hitting the bad words today and
What?
going nutty.
What?
Look, it's okay. You're uncensored. We get it.
We're uncensored, dude. It'll be censored on YouTube, which is probably the platform that you prefer, Pig Vomit.
You know what? Yeah, I like it. I like a YouTube.
Yeah,
You know what?
for the discoverability, because people can just play with. They use the algorithm. We have no algorithms.
Are you telling me, Vic? Are you telling me that this language is inappropriate for WNBC?
WNBC. Yes, it is.
Doggy, I'll tell you right now, we don't have algorithms at Gas Digital. We are like
We can't spell algorithm.
we
at
are
Gas Digital.
second generation internet here at Gas Digital. The idea of an algorithm that's going to have you discover another show that you like on Gas Digital, get the fuck out of here. Can we build that into the website? Is there any algorithms happening at Gas Digital? Or is it all just straight up, here's a file on a website, click it or don't, faggot.
The algorithm is Blind Mike telling you what clips to watch before your episode starts.
We have a new intern who we named Algorithm, and he will tell you what we think you should want.
We're trying
Algorithm.
algorithm. I would love to stay ahead of the technology curve, but it's just moving too fast. What do you want me to say here? How do we
Sounds
possibly
familiar,
stay
by the
ahead of technology?
I don't know. Hit the gong.
That's
Natalie.
why we said the N-word, because we can say so far behind the technology that maybe somehow the technology will pass us. Technology's lapped us, folks.
Yeah, it sure has.
Yeah.
Anyway, good Thanksgivings. That's what's important.
It was a great Thanksgiving, though. We had a great time. We ate great food. I got to introduce my chick to my family.
That's very nice.
It's good.
So the
My aunt doesn't understand how my girlfriend's so skinny and has such a big butt.
yeah, well, she's from a different time.
Different generation.
Yeah, they didn't make them like that.
They really didn't. Goddamn. Healthy girl. Don't know what they're feeding her, but damn doggy. All right, look, whatever, Vic. I guess we have to talk MMA. We're 14 minutes into the show, and Vic, by the way, we have a red light that goes on behind Dave's head. You guys can't see this, and it just starts flashing when it's an MMA light. And when Vic wants us to talk about MMA, he starts hitting the MMA button over and over.
There was a card the other day, no?
I don't think so.
Oh,
the only thing that happened this weekend was the PFL.
Oh. Yes, Vic. Oh, the PFL had a card. Hold on, let me find this. Let me try to pull this up.
The PFL had a card.
I'm actually very curious. Okay. I want both of your takes on this, both Lewis and Vic on this. I thought this was crazy. And I have a feeling Lewis is going to be on board with me that if I was Dana White, I would be fucking livid over this. So I get an email from ESPN Plus, because I'm subscribed to them. They send you emails. My emails just flooded with things I never should have given my email to, but it's the worst. But this is ESPN Plus is carrying the PFL event, and this is the title.
All right, I'll take a coffee.
This is the subject that they send out to all of their ESPN Plus subscribers. The biggest night in MMA is tonight.
No.
That's what ESPN Plus sends out to every ESPN Plus subscriber.
Question, is PFL also under the UFC Fight Pass banner as well?
No. This is a competing company to the UFC. Look, if I were Dana White, obviously you understand, it's ESPN. They're going to cover other sports, but wouldn't that rub you the wrong way if you were like, look, dude, you can have another MMA brand, another MMA organization, and you can host their fights and promote them. But to call them the biggest thing in MMA when I bring you in fucking gazillions of dollars.
Yeah, literally, MMA wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for us. And if the UFC wasn't on this is the fact. If the UFC was not on ESPN, the PFL being on ESPN would be a laughable thing that people would go like, okay, ESPN, you're in the MMA business. People would mock both ESPN and the PFL for their partnership. But because the UFC is on ESPN, people go, oh, no, ESPN is in the sport of MMA. Yes. They're the elite brand. And now we can have respect for the PFL. The only reason anybody respects it.
Crazy that they would say that, dude. Listen, to the average, normie fan, most people don't even know the difference between the terms MMA and UFC. They go, that's what MMA is. It's UFC.
I would say 50% of the people that are watching the PFL on ESPN think they're watching the UFC.
Yes.
Literally.
I mean,
that's not an exaggeration or being hyperbolic. Is that the word?
No, you did it. Yeah, no.
Hyperbole.
Yeah. Hyperbole. I believe is what Vic meant. I thought to me, it's almost like as if if Coca-Cola made some huge deal with, some restaurant and they also served, not even Pepsi, can't even compare it to Pepsi, they also served RC Cola. And then at some point they go, RC Cola, the biggest cola, you could ever get. RC Cola. It's
it's funny. As soon as you put it that way, I was kind of like, the reality is Coca-Cola likely does own smaller cola brands as well. If I had to guess.
Yes, but UFC does not own this one. I'm just saying in this situation, it's a separate company.
No, you're right.
So it's just, it just seems like to me a crazy line. The least the UFC
are you
could
the only
ask.
person, getting upset about this, or has there been any other coverage on this?
No, I literally just saw this and wanted to talk to you about
Dave
it.
Smith angle.
I'm trying to sow division between ESPN
Okay,
and
look,
the
dude,
UFC.
can we get this to go viral, Vic? This is the moment we need. We need to talk. We need to get Dana White pissed off.
No, listen, Dana White. If you're not pissed off and you're comfortable being a bitch, then that's fine. I'm not even going to say anything.
With the PFL cucking you in front of the entire ESPN audience.
Dana White always gave off to me this vibe that he was a man. He was like a, Now I just thought that was fucking disrespectful to the UFC.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead, Vic.
I think just as disrespectful as RC Cola has been.
I think the only time you should use
the
sound effect is when Vic randomly comes in out of nowhere.
Yeah, or maybe just the first time.
Yeah, the first time we hear from Vic.
Understood.
Now it's kind of ruining the.
Yeah, not every time he speaks. Especially if we throw it to Vic. If we say, "What do you think, Vic?"
Got it.
And then he speaks, you're like, "Dong, shut up, Vic, dong."
I think Natalie's right on pace. Natalie, hit it again. There you go. See?
All right, assignment understood.
I am, even though I will sometimes say the UFC isn't right about everything, I am more or less just a company boy behind the UFC.
Yeah,
I think that they're the reason this whole fucking sport exists. Dana White convinced his fucking rich buddies to invest in it. They were flipping out over him because they were like, we're losing tons of money. And he's like, hey, just stick it around. Put some more money into it. Don't worry. We're going to get there.
Now that I'm in the world of business to a certain degree, I mean, not to a certain degree, I am. When I hear about a $2 million investment, I remember back in the day, it was still like a wild amount of money. Like when I first became a UFC fan, like they invested $2 million, you go like, well, you would need people who own casinos to be able to invest that much money. I mean, they have to be printing money. But now that like I own a few businesses that like do pretty well, I go like, oh, it's actually a really little amount of money to have bought the UFC.
Yeah, if
for.
you have 200 grand, you could get the loan for
It's pretty fucking
grand.
it's crazy when you really think about how little money
they poured money in.
Yes,
so that's not the thing. Is that I believe at a certain point they were like 40 mil in the hole,
tens of millions,
and losing money still. And there was a point where the Fertittas were like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you convinced us to get in on this thing. It has just been a black hole of fucking us losing money. And he was like, I'm telling you, this thing's about to turn around and pop and be huge. And then it did. And so, I'm not saying like maybe the UFC should pay some fighters more. I'm not even like arguing with that. But it's also like all of these guys, the reason why you can have a career in MMA and even make a living is because of Dana White and the UFC. And so,
if it wasn't for Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, the sport of MMA would not exist because it was a true visionary thing that they had. And look, the Fertitta brothers, they literally were printing money. I mean, casino owners.
Yes. No, they were rich guys.
Yeah, I mean,
and family money. And
they
shit
named
like
that breakfast thing after them.
But I think it was also, did they?
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, that's from them.
Yeah, the breakfast Fertittas.
There you go.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Delicious.
Dude. Spanish style.
But also, I think it also had like
a chorizo Fertitta.
It also had a taint for them. Like it was a kind of like an unsavory thing for them to be involved in. Even from like casino money, it was like, oh, you're getting involved in this human
also the
thing.
shittiest casinos in Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, that is true.
Yeah.
But hey, what are you going to do?
Just a couple things I want to raise for you guys to riff off of. So that event Friday was headlined by Kayla Harrison. Was a big deal in that she lost.
I don't care about
also the
female fighters in the UFC, much less female fighters in the PFL. Wow.
If Demetrius Johnson is fighting, I'm interested.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, here's the other thing too. That was a pay-per-view. That was they're actually the PFL's first pay-per-view through ESPN that they put out. So people were actually paying to see this.
This is what would bother me. It's twofold what would piss me off if I was Dana White about that subject line in the email. It's number one, that it's like disrespectful to the UFC. Number two, to the point you made, Lewis, where you're like, I bet there's a substantial number of people watching that who didn't even. I think that once you're like, oh, the UFC is on ESPN, when they put out, oh, the biggest night in MMA is tonight, it's almost like they're using your brand to sell this fucking thing. That's like, oh, yeah, oh, okay. Oh, they say it's the biggest one tonight. I guess we should fucking order it.
When the UFC first parted ways with Spike TV?
I do.
Now, there was a period of time where Spike TV still owned the television rights to the UFC, right? And they could still show UFC on Spike TV, and they were waiting for that contract to like dissipate, and then they were going to move in, I believe, their Fox deal. That was sort of like the idea, right? And this made me lose so much respect for Spike TV. And I get what it was. It was them playing their cards the same way that like you're supposed to hit on certain things and stay on certain things in blackjack. Like it's just certain hard, fast rules. Like they were like, no, we are looking for ratings and this is the way we're going to play it. But it was such a shitty way to do it. What they would do is they would counter program the UFC. The UFC would have a pay-per-view on Saturday night and it would be Brock Lesnar headlining. And then Spike TV would show during the pay-per-view and leading up for a couple hours for the pay-per-view, best of Brock Lesnar. Like it was just Brock Lesnar. And what they were doing was, and I remember because people on social media, this is when mixed martial arts fans were it was way less big of a thing. It was right before the boom, like pro wrestling had a similar boom where it wasn't like all the cool kids liked it. MMA,
it was just starting.
It was underground MMA. Like when MMA was on Spike TV, it was kind of underground still. It wasn't like if you knew about MMA, it was kind of a rarity. Like now every comedian watches the fights. Every comedian talks about the biggest fights.
At the very least knows that it's a thing. I'm talking about back then, people didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, it was like back when it was on Spike TV, and it was what they did was they were tricking all these casual fans into believing they were watching the Brock Lesnar fight. Because I remember people on social media being like watching this Brock fight, and it was like 9:00 before the pay-per-view was even on, and I'd be like, "What are you even fucking talking about, you idiot? It's not even on yet." But Spike TV, what they were doing is they were just sort of taking advantage of the fact that there's a certain amount of people that would go, "Duh, Brock Lesnar's fighting tonight. There it is," and they would click on it, and they would be ignorant. And it was just like the opposite of creativity. It was the opposite of why I became an entertainer and why I work in the business that I work in was to kind of create. And it was never about tricking people. It was never about like, oh, let me fucking figure out how I can manipulate an algorithm. Let me figure out how I can buy likes or buy views or buy people that are going to fucking follow me. There's all those little tricks. And we know a lot of people that do these tricks, a ton of people, right?
I'm thinking of like what example?
I'm thinking of like 10 examples right now.
Well, I'm thinking of it. We had a friend of ours who like was by the way, who is great and I love to death. Was like a very close friend of me and Lewis's back when we started comedy, but he just wanted to be like a business dude. Yeah. And I remember when he started his company, he named it the first time One Tunes.
Oh, yes.
And he bought onetunes.com. And his whole thing was that he was like, well, people fuck up when they're looking for iTunes. Yeah. And or if you see the link, it looks like iTunes. Yeah. And then this, and I remember both of us, our immediate reaction was just like, oh.
Yeah, it's just the opposite. Like
that's just not. I'm not trying to trick anyone into wanting my product. Yeah. I want to make a dope-ass product.
In the entertainment industry. There's a lot of that. Like in LA, there's a reason why every podcast that pops off in LA starts off with like 100,000 downloads. Right? There's a reason. It's because they like the people that are producing podcasts out there. All of those companies that are you see the West Coast guys that are doing it. They understand the algorithms. They understand the platforms. It's not so much about creating the best content possible. They have a leg up on that side of it, which, to be honest with you, we have to get better at.
We could use a little bit more.
I'm happy that we do things differently. We are completely organic. There's nobody on our team that goes. And by the way, we had a meeting today on the Gas Digital production team, and it was the most baseline basic. It was like, well, I think we can get more people to watch our reels if we have a more catching intro line. And it was just the most basic shit. And I bet people that understand that, they're like, guys, like, you have no idea like because how intricate that business is. But it's the opposite of creativity.
Well, look, there's a flaw to it for sure. And like, we could get a lot better at that. But I know, like, the way I am is with the comedy shit and the political shit too, with all of it, I always kind of had this like romantic artist kind of thing. Like, that's what drew me to all of it. So it's not like I just go like, well, I want this to be like the funniest thing. And then everyone loves it because it's the funniest thing. Mm-hmm. And I just want that to be how it works. And even with my politics, my political commentary shit, it's always like, oh no, I just really believe this. Yeah. And so I want to like people to hear this. Because like someone else, I heard this from someone else. Isn't this really compelling? Yeah. Like, isn't this a really good point? And then you're like, well, how do you trick everyone into clicking on your thing? Make a title that leads them to think you're doing all this. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And I could use a little bit more.
Look, Brian, and look at when I post something, right? And it pains me to use a hashtag.
Yes.
It makes me want to drive a fucking spike into my skull. If I'm like, if I like write like funny podcast and a hashtag, and I've done it because I know you have to. But even saying or even admitting it into the air, I'm like, delete my Instagram right now. Delete my entire fucking Instagram. It's infuriating. It is the gayest, stupidest shit. You should just be able to create, and the cream should rise to the top. But the reality, let's see, did I do this week? Look at my real ass podcast hashtag.
That's not so bad.
But look, I don't really do that. I don't do like, but I did one right there. Look, Turkey Day. Oh, no.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts inside.
Happy Thanksgiving. Like, even doing that, just that much. It's like, what do I want somebody that's clicking on Happy Thanksgiving hashtags to happen upon my shit? Not really. Yeah. It's not a good idea. Some kid,
I'll see it.
Some kid being like, okay, Happy Thanksgiving. And then it's a bit about us raping a turkey.
Dude, I did which it was a good bet. Well, we weren't raping the turkey.
Turkey nectar pussy, whatever.
Yes, it was very different. It was much better than raping a turkey.
It was consensual.
Tonight
it was all consensual.
I will give Alex credit. She gave it. Thank you.
Yes, she told me about the concept for tonight's Legion of Skanks. I think
great.
It's a very
well,
good
tune
one.
in tonight's Legion of Skanks, where we Bobby Kelly, his heaviest, he was 350 pounds. So we're going to be guessing things that are heavier than Bobby Kelly was at his heaviest.
That's a great bit. No, but so there's like, even Brian, who's my producer for Part of the Problem, and he's right to do this because he's the producer and this is his job and he's right. But he's like, listen, like, because he'll be like, sometimes he'll just come up with the titles for the show, and then sometimes he'll be like, anything you want to call this one. But like a lot of times I just won't say, and he'll just come up with the title. But he'll be like, look, dude, if I put the title like this, it ends up getting more downloads and not this. And then there was one time where there's like this real popular YouTuber who, now he made a video about me, and I did a response video to it.
And then he did a response to your response about him.
So this response that I did to him got, I think, the most downloads any podcast, any podcast.
Eventually, it's literally you just looking at a camera, then looking back, and
but
going.
The thing is,
and there's 1,000 you.
This guy is so fucking retarded. Like, he's so dumb.
Yeah.
And now he's got a huge audience, but I did that, and then one other time he made a video. I think he made one that wasn't about me that I responded to, and that got like these were both like I think my 2 most downloaded episodes ever. And there's almost like this thing where you go, oh, I could just do this.
Yeah.
I could just do this and be way bigger. You know what I mean? But you're
It
like,
just sucks.
That's not what I want to do. I
It's
don't want to
business of
smack
what
down the dumbest shit.
It's what Nicole Arbor does,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this would have happened. We had that thing. You know, which by the way, funny story, me and my girlfriend are only dating because she was on like a fucking YouTube journey, clicked on Nicole Arbor shit, and then just happened upon the video with Nicole Arbor on my show. And that's how she became a fan of Real Ass Podcasts and like this whole like Gas Digital world. That's how we met.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
Nuts.
So if it wasn't for Nicole Arbor, I wouldn't be dating this chick. But that's very, very funny. But Nicole Arbor, like what I noticed very quickly in arguing with this chick and going back and forth, I was like, oh, she's in the business of just getting people to click on her shit. It's just content. And she's very disconnected and emotionless with what's being put out. Whereas I'm really emotional. I'm going, oh, you're attacking my reputation. I have a son. One day he's going to click on this. He's going to think I'm a rapist. This is crazy. So, and then I realized very quickly, I was like, oh, I can't win. I can't win that.
Because the more you respond, you're just giving her more content.
What's the point?
And also, she's better than you.
She's better than me.
Better than you
at everything.
You know what the solution to that is?
What is it?
TikTok dance contest. Go.
Even our attempts at TikTok dance, I don't know what the heck.
I can't.
What are they doing?
All that needed was a gong.
What has happened this past week in MMA? We've 31 minutes on an email that Dave got.
Well, I thought it was an interesting topic. No? All right. Conor and Anthony Smith have a beef?
Well, all right. We were talking PFL. Just why don't we talk?
Right.
How did Larissa Pacheco become a millionaire, Vic?
She won by unanimous decision. Upset her.
Unanimous. Why are you speaking this way today?
I don't know. I'm having some trouble. I just got back from the dentist. So.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a little off.
It's okay.
But anyway, she won the third. Or this was her third crack at Kayla Harris, and she beat her. And now they're talking about a fourth fight. She won $1 million. And by the way, going to your point, Dave, everybody was using the fact that these winners of the Friday night were winning $1 million to kind of take a shot at the UFC, saying how the PFL is more fair than the UFC.
By the way, this is how everyone imagines Vic looks.
Wait, so and what is the deal with PFL? It's if you win the tournament, you win $1 million, right?
Exactly.
But what do you get paid for if you lose the tournament?
I don't have the numbers, but I'm taking it pretty. They're getting competitive because they are getting people to sign up.
I don't know that there is a business model in paying people millions of dollars to fight for your organization when nobody's paying to watch your organization.
Well, this has happened before. If you remember when it was who was the organization?
And more power to them. It's great for the people who capitalize.
Was it Affliction?
Affliction, yes.
That started
they were paying like $3 million for Tim Sylvia when he came over. It was like crazy.
And they were paying these guys money. And they were paying them more money than the UFC, and they went out of business in a year.
Yep.
And it's like so.
It's good. Strike while the iron's hot for the fighters that are taking those deals. It is great for the PFL and the longevity of the fight roster on the PFL. It's not so great, right?
It's also not
look like you see Bellator. I think they have a good business model, right? They have TV deals in place. They have sponsorship deals in place. Very few pay-per-views. They're paying the guys. I think the guys that work at Bellator, I think it's comparable. I think if you're a high-level Bellator fighter, you can make really, really good money. I haven't analyzed the numbers at all, but there's a business there, and you see it with Bellator, and I kind of get that model. When you see these other organizations come out and they're paying like massive, massive amounts of money, I'm like, nobody fucking knows.
Yeah.
who Larissa Pacheco is.
And I also think that if you're being honest with this shit, because the UFC does this thing, which is a weird system, but the money they report is not the money that you make. You know, they bonus you heavy and they don't disclose that information. But from everyone who's talked about it, it seems to me that the floor for a UFC champion is not very far below $1 million, and it ranges to much, much higher than that. So it's not like, if you think UFC fighters who win the title aren't making at least $1 million for the most part. I'm not saying every single one. There might be a few of the really unknown champs, like in the lower weight classes and shit like that aren't. But I think most of those guys are making like huge money.
And it's also, it's like a lot of those guys, if they're smart, they're doing other things. I look at somebody like Michael Bisping, who's a great example of it, right? Who didn't just become a UFC champion. He started planting really strong seeds with other areas in business, broadcasting, and in areas that he was smart, and he really did a great job. And he was not somebody who made money like McGregor or John Jones or any of these guys. Bisping was like a guy who I don't think he really ever complained about the money that he made, but he was never a fucking oh my God, $10 million a fight guy. But Bisping he saw the opportunities in front of him and has created probably generational wealth for his family. And you see the guys that are smart about the business. If you become a UFC champion, you have a storied career that way, there's a lot of opportunities. People want to fucking work with you, dude. We went out to dinner, dude. You just see the amount of people that oh my God, dude, it's Michael fucking
And
Bisping.
now you see guys like Sean O'Malley, Alajamain Sterling, who are I just see their podcast clips blowing up and shit, and you're like, oh yeah, they're finding these other ways to do this. Now, is it true? The true test in a way is that the guys at the top of the UFC are making really big money. It's are the guys at the bottom making that what are they making? But then what, compare that to the guys at the bottom of PFL.
It's also,
what are those guys making?
And you got to understand the UFC also, they sort of bought out the lower class, right? So they, for a while it was the UFC, they bought Strikeforce, they bought Pride, they bought WEC. They bought all these small, and they were running them for a little while, and they went, this is stupid, nobody gives a fuck. The UFC themselves said, this is fucking retarded. These smaller organizations are just simply by existing are less than. By opening their eyes in the morning and breathing, they're going we are second fiddle, and we want to scream that from the mountaintops just by broadcasting. So they said, yeah, let's just take all the best of the best from all these organizations, bring them into the UFC. So the UFC's roster went from probably 200 fighters to 600 fighters at one point. It was crazy, right? And it's the lower class, those are guys that they wouldn't have been in the UFC before. There's it's a massive roster. And if you look at the average amount of money that a UFC fighter makes, I guarantee you it's higher than the average amount of money that a boxer makes. I guarantee it. And the reality is, I feel just like in comedy, it's very fair. Because if you go out and you can fucking fight and you can win and you can get on the mic a little bit and get some people behind you and you can generate a fan base, you are fucking set. Yep. You are legitimately set, and it's a very, very fair thing. And the guys who get to the very, very top, you see there's a reason why. Nobody's handing them anything. The UFC, what they're great at, because more than even being a fight organization, more than being anything else, they are marketers. They're really, really great at marketing. And that's one of the thing that is beautiful about the UFC is you sort of see the way that they sort of build people up, and they're great at recognizing who they can create a partnership with. Yeah. Because they know if they have a partnership with another Conor or another Brock or another Ronda, it takes them to the fucking moon. We're talking about this, about how just 10 years ago, it was a fringe thing on Spike TV, and now there's not a single I don't know anybody who doesn't know who Conor McGregor is.
It's a weird, so it reminds me of, so I saw this video actually just the other day, and there was some chick who evidently is a WNBA player, and she was saying, and this was the video, it was going viral, but so she was basically saying, she's look, the people who say we're complaining about our pay in the WNBA, she goes, we're not saying we should make as much as LeBron James. We're saying we should get the same percentage split that the NBA guys get, right? So I'm not saying I should make as much money as the NBA guy, but I'm saying that if they're bringing in, whatever, if 20% of the gross, we should get 20% too.
That's fair.
And well, but even that, it sounds fair, except upon so this video is going viral and everyone's like, oh, she made such a good point. How can you argue with that?
Hold on,
right?
I'm here. Hold on.
Well,
I'm
here's
listening.
the only issue.
Come
right?
on, Dave. I'm a dude. Get me on your side.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is just start thinking about this from a business perspective and just happening to know a little bit about the situation. I go, wait. But here's the difference, okay? The WNBA loses money. It's bleeding money. The NBA makes enormous money.
So you're
There's
right.
There's a
but
huge
she's not wrong.
so-
I think the female players should be paying to play.
Well, that's my point. It's like, so yes,
Communism.
when you have a business that is wildly successful and there's a ton of money coming in, then you negotiate away your split to like what you can afford to pay everybody. But when you're bleeding money and you're trying to keep the doors open to just even make this a thing, maybe you can't afford to pay them the same percentage as like what I'm just saying that these things are very complicated, and it's very easy for anyone else to come in and go, you know, I'll tell you, this is how they should run it at the UFC. This is how they should do that there. And maybe you're right. It is possible that you're right. But also maybe the people who actually, the only people who have ever run an MMA organization with longevity and success are the UFC. Maybe they know a thing or two about how to run it.
Let's see. Jux Flux in the Racist Live chat says he tries to get his Twitter mentioned at events all the time, saying corny shit. They're trashing me right now in the chat. Lewis is way off. This is Matt Nichols. Lewis is way off, even if PFL burning out their income with high payouts. How am I way off? GE2AD says they use Lewis's voice in promos. They do use my voice in promos. Jux Flux says, yeah, from Bisping's podcast. That's pretty funny. That's not true. They've been using it from recent podcasts without my permission.
I got my voice in a promo once.
Did you?
Yeah, from Rogan.
Oh,
That's the only way.
No permission though. They didn't ask me shit.
They didn't ask
They
me
just
either.
take my voice. They just assume it's public domain.
I did sign a document when I was on Rogan, so I probably signed it all the way.
Yeah.
Here's my solution. Gas Digital.
That was a good one, Natalie. I gotta say that one was good.
A Gas Digital tournament. Just like old Bellator days. Winner gets a bonus. We're gonna probably face Bisping, Wild Goose,
Bisping and Mickey Gall in the finals versus
Jesus.
Harrington and Vic.
We'll put the bye guys in there somewhere. They could go either way.
Yeah. No one expected Harrington to get by Mickey Gall, but now he's facing Michael Bisping.
Oh shit. All right, what happened with McGregor is being sued by Lobov? Artem Lobov. Lobov.
Oh, I
says
heard about
that
this. Yeah.
This is why I made that reference earlier. He says he was part of the original idea for Proper 12 whiskey.
Ooh.
And he's suing him for 5%.
What is the idea there? We're gonna
We should make whiskey.
whiskey. There's not much of an idea.
Well, it's
Should we
basically
make our
what
Should we
Dave
make
said.
our own Legion of Skanks branded alcohol or something? Didn't fucking Mark Norman and Sam Morrell do this?
Why are you going to do what they did?
That's news to me.
I don't know. I love this idea.
We'll do better. We'll do a better whiskey.
How come we can't do Kratom?
We'll dose it with
We'll
acid.
do our special Yo MMA Kratom.
I talked to Yo Kratom
right, here's what we
about
do.
doing rattlesnake branded Kratom, and I wanted to do flavored Kratom, and they were like, "Dude, you don't want to get into this business, trust me." And I was like, "You guys are trying to hoard all the fucking Kratom bucks. Don't you fucking tell me."
Yeah, oh, you don't want in this business, bro. There's no money in there. But keep mentioning our business. Keep mentioning it. We're gonna stick around for a while.
You
but
remember
you don't want-
in Walk Hard, he walks in, he's like, "Oh, you don't want none of this.
you don't want this shit.
It'll make all your bad thoughts turn into good thoughts."
That's great. Goddamn, what a great movie.
Oh shit.
All right, here's the deal. We make a whiskey company.
Please.
We just take a good whiskey, we pour it into our bottle, and we charge like $10 more a bottle.
That's actually really smart.
We just pour Angel's Envy into our fucking whiskey and then say it's fucking Legion of Skanks.
Good stuff. I got Dave a bottle of Angels. I went to visit his house, bro.
I
showed up.
I finished that bottle long ago, but it was a delicious bottle of whiskey.
Showed up in hand with a bottle of Angel's Envy, a nice bottle of Italian wine, a Montepulciano for his wife, for his Guinea wife.
That was very nice. You won her over.
Finally,
How about,
after years.
How about whiskey in plastic bottles? I feel like that's very on brand for this.
Maybe the Gatorade Pop Tops, but like with whiskey.
Exactly.
Do you
I mean,
remember?
that's not Gatorade. What is that? Poland Spring? Whatever.
No, I would say. Remember those like They were like Kool-Aids, and the top you twisted. It was like made of like plastic, and you eventually twisted it off, and you.
Oh, no one's ever had whiskey out of a juice box with a straw.
Ooh, better idea.
Great idea.
Those little shitty wax bottles with juice in them. Inside of those wax bottles, shitty whiskey, skank whiskey.
Wait, hold on, dude. Hold on. I'm gonna blow your mind here. Gushers. Gushers with whiskey in them. Okay? Gooey candy outside, potent whiskey inside, skank whiskey.
Fucking blowing my mind. Our fan base.
I feel like that would be really big in Asia. I think that's that's going to be a winner. Maybe not in America, but around the world.
If we could somehow get whiskey gushers to our fan base,
The technology's out there.
In each bag of gushers, there is one shot of whiskey. Once you eat
A full shot? In a bag. Okay, I gotcha.
So yeah, there's 14 gushers in the bag.
You got to get a lot of sugar in you before you get that one shot.
Yeah, but dude, that's fucking great, dude. 3 fucking bags of gushers later, you're getting hammered. This is not a bad idea.
What is the music? EDM? What is that? Go ahead, Natalie.
I was just gonna say for this show, it'd be like an IPA and a shot of whiskey, and it'd be like you guys for this show because that's what you guys drink during the
A
show.
little IPA and a shot of whiskey.
Like a beer and a shot combo.
That's
Speaking of, could I grab another?
Absolutely.
The Yo MMA combo at your local beer,
Yeah.
at your local bar. Guys, tweet at us, tag Yo MMA Rap, tag Comic Dave Smith, tag at Louis J. Gomez, and show us your IPA and a shot of bourbon.
I just
we'll
feel
show them
like
on the show next week. Look, they said create engagement. All the West Coast people say do things that will create engagement on the internet.
They said we have to hit all the buzzwords.
What was I looking up on my
Whiskey
phone?
gushers.
I was looking up something on my phone. Now I forgot.
I don't know. How to make your own gushers out of your basement.
Fuck. Okay.
Sounds delicious.
All right. So I still don't know what happened with Lobov. And
So, well, he told you. He said he's suing him because he says he was there. He was part of the idea for Proper 12.
And I guess they sold Proper 12 for $600 million, and he said he was supposed to get 5% of the $600 million. Hold on, let me do the math on this. That is $30 million. It's a big chunk of change.
It's a lot of money. Wasn't there a thing? Didn't Dustin Poirier claim that Conor said he was going to donate money to his fucking charity?
And I think Conor ended up doing it though. He ended up donating at the end of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conor was in all the new. Conor had like 3 stories, by the way, this week.
All right. What's the other Conor story?
The one that I think is funny is he went after Anthony Lionheart Smith because Anthony Lionheart said he was probably on PEDs. Since he's gotten jacked up for that Roadhouse movie.
Oh, who could that?
Is that why he's so
guy?
jacked? Is that why it's the Roadhouse movie? I thought he was getting jacked for his comeback.
No, it's the Roadhouse movie.
That's how I'm going to look, by the way, in like 3 months. By the way, guys,
totally.
I just started lifting.
Indistinguishable.
I just started lifting fucking weights again. It's about to get wild because I can't train MMA right now because my knee. I'm getting fucking whoo.
What did the doctor say, by the way?
Dude, don't even get me started on these fucking J-bag doctors.
Hey, come on.
It could mean anything.
That's true.
Could mean anything.
He's talking about Joshua Tree.
I go to the doctor, and I was supposed to go for an MRI, and I get there for the MRI. I'm like, hey, I'm here for the MRI. They're like, oh, no, you can't get an MRI. I'm like, why not? They're like, you got to get an X-ray first.
Yeah, you told us this whole story on Legion of Skanks last week.
Oh, all right. Well, you just asked.
We went on a whole
Vic
thing.
just asked.
About how, you have to get X-rays first. The X-rays never tell you anything.
No,
Blah, 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 yada.
Did I tell you this?
On the way back, your wood panel. And
Get out of my head. My wood panel. Yeah.
It turns out it only costs like $120. You're going to be fine.
Damn doggy.
Thanks for summing it up, Dave. I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So anyway, I have to go back and get an MRI now. They gave me my X-ray, but now I got to get an MRI.
Yeah. There you go.
I still think you should fight.
Yeah. No, probably you should man up and do it. So so Anthony Smith said that probably it looks like Conor might be on some juice.
Yeah.
Which is something that we've all been thinking.
Yeah.
Since seeing these pictures.
Well,
he's
also,
out of
USADA. Not only because of how jacked he is, but because of how quickly he came back from his injury or
yeah, well, he's just anytime anyone's getting like crazy jacked and they're out of USADA, you're going to start to wonder that. That's not a thing that most of the time happens. So yeah, I don't know. So Conor's pissed about it.
Connor says that he's not going to apologize because this is why Chris Weidman has been, not recovering very well from his leg injury, and he thinks this is the reason he's recovering pretty well.
Wait, so he's admitting that he is on PEDs?
No, but you know how there's a lot of supplements and things that are also not regulated by USADA. So he's not saying he is, but he's not also saying that he's not in conflict with it.
Oh, that kind of sounds like he's saying he is doing some shit if he's like, this is why Weidman's not recovering and this is why I am.
Yeah, let's see. This rat who spoke to Weidman. I can't do an Irish accent. Can you do an Irish accent? Yeah, let me hear you.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, let me hear.
Where's the quote here?
This rat wrote.
This rat spoke to Weidman. Yeah,
No,
no,
it's bad.
nothing.
Coop, let me hear your Irish accent. Go ahead.
This fucking rat. No, I can't do it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Vic-
we're all bad.
Nah, you try.
Victor, please.
What are me lucky charms?
Oh my God. Is this Connor? Do we have Connor on the line right now?
It's me, Conor McGregor. My leg be hurting, but I drank the Pupper 12 and I rub it all over my leg, and
the best
I'm feeling
one.
all right.
Vic's got the best one
My
so
favorite hero is groundskeeper Willie.
far. What's the issue? So you were saying something about this rat. He spoke to Weidman. What were you saying?
I'm saying this fucking rat comes over there and he's telling me about my leg, but Weidman's leg, it's linguine. And I'll be walking around. I'm gonna be in a roadhouse kicking people in the head. That was supposed to be Ronda Rousey in Roadhouse, but it's me now.
All right. Well, there we go. There you have it.
I
Here.
say you fight that guy in the dress there, Lewis. Why are you not doing stuff like that, eh? Dave's the only one with any balls. And Coop's got balls. Where are your balls, Lewis? Get MRI. Oh, fuck that.
All right, we got to go here in a minute. Real quick, I want to talk about this really quick. Couple things. Abdelaziz says Sterling and Cejudo is a done deal.
Ooh.
Ali Abdelaziz claims that Alajamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo is a done deal. Blah blah blah. He said the UFC has agreed to the matchup despite Sterling previously snubbing Cejudo in favor of Sean O'Malley, who promises he'll be fighting the winner of the Bantamweight Championship next year. Aljo is fighting Henry. It's done.
This was a weird thing that happened at the PFL event in Madison Square Garden Theater.
This was at PFL. Is that Dana?
No,
That's Ali Abdelaziz. He loves it. Wow. Ali Abdelaziz is ugly, and that's making me realizing how ugly I am, because I look like an uglier him. Damn. Damn, I'm ugly. Fuck.
That's a real interesting fight, man. Yeah. I'm really not sure.
I mean, look, Cejudo's been off for a long
He's been out
fucking
for a
time,
long
dude.
time.
So we're kind of riding high on Cejudo. Cejudo also, like, I have to really look at his fucking record. I mean, he was the champion of the easiest divisions at the time.
No.
At the time, for sure.
Well, look, it's not just that, dude. Look, you got a guy who is a fucking Olympic gold medalist who came in and stopped the run of Demetrius Johnson. Then beats TJ Dillashaw, then moves up a weight class and beats Marias to become the champ of that weight, then stops Dominic Cruz. I mean, it was a pretty goddamn impressive run within that weight class. It's about as impressive as you can be.
Well, I mean, look, where's Marias? Where's Dominic Cruz now? I mean, you're looking at the guys.
No, Dominic Cruz came back and had another big win after that, and then another loss after that. But look, he stopped Demetrius Johnson's fucking reign of people saying the pound for pound best fighter in the world, and then beat TJ Dillashaw, stopped him.
Yeah.
That's pretty goddamn impressive. He's a very tough guy.
But I'm just saying, we have definitely
bigger. He's much bigger,
and
than him,
he's been competing at the highest fucking level
while this guy's been doing.
While he's been doing nothing. While these divisions 125, 135 have just improved leaps and bounds over the past 4 years, dude. Exploded.
Although
now
the
they're
last
some of the
guy-
toughest, deepest, and most exciting divisions in the sport.
But the last guy he fought, that Alajamain fought, was TJ Dillashaw, who was still the number one contender, who this guy knocked out a
TJ
couple years
just
ago.
showed up injured and fucking got destroyed.
So we don't really know from that. But I'm just saying.
It seems like TJ's an old man who's getting injured, and
But this was a few years ago when he beat him like in his prime, like when he was champion. Look, I don't know. I wouldn't. I would lean toward Alajamain in this fight because of the time off for Henry Cejudo, but it's not as if there's not like kind of a question there, like, oh, this could be interesting.
Major question. I think most people will be picking Cejudo. What are the early odds on this? I guarantee they're out already, Coop, and I guarantee you that Cejudo's a betting favorite.
I don't know about
I'll
that.
bet you. I'll bet you on the bet.
I'll bet you on the bet on the bet.
How much you want to bet? Give me odds.
I'll bet you that you don't want to make this bet.
Ooh, no, y'all make this bet right now?
Okay, I'll bet you do want to make this bet.
Oh, damn, dude. Damn it. I showed my cards. Showed my ass there. What are the opening odds on this?
Finding him now.
I guarantee Harrington already knows. Harrington, what are the opening odds on Cejudo versus Alajamain?
Say it again.
He can't hear us. Turn the volume out there.
Say it one more time.
I said, what are the opening odds on Cejudo versus Alajamain? Harrington knows.
He's shaking his head no, and Lewis goes, he knows.
No, I want to make Coop feel
He
bad.
knows.
He knows. He doesn't want to tell us. He's looking it up right now.
Waiting on that, something. Go ahead.
Okay, what were you saying?
While we're waiting on that, I was just going to say one thing I did leave off was the Glover Teixeira matchup with Jiri Prohaska is done.
Oh yeah,
They
that was an
scrapped it
interesting. That was a real.
And he's out
interesting
for a
call.
year.
Yeah, so evidently the champ had a real fucked up shoulder injury and still wanted to fight. And the doctors were like, no, you're not fighting. You're going to risk like fucking your shoulder up permanently.
Yeah.
So he pulled out, and then they wanted Glover to fight. Who did they want him to fight? To fight
Jan, right?
Was it?
No,
it wasn't Jan.
Who's Jan fighting?
Ankalev.
Yeah.
Ankle.
And Glover was like, nah, I need time to like train for that guy. I'm not going to just take that. And so then they decided it's going to be him versus Jan. And it just seemed crazy to me that they didn't make the Jan versus Glover fight, which would have seemed like the fight to make that people would have fucking kind of cared about.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Interesting. We got to wrap this one up. Last thing, Cain Velasquez okayed to wrestle. That's nice. Cain released from prison on $1 million bail on November 8th, which is awesome. As a condition of his bail, Velasquez is supposed to be confined to his home and wear a GPS tracker and not come within 300 yards of the alleged victims of the case. However, Judge Arthur Bagakakak temporarily waived the home confinement and tracker for this Lucha Libre event. Velasquez must pay out of his own pocket for law enforcement to accompany him to the wrestling show in lieu of the tracker.
Oh, man, it just makes my blood boil that they refer to that guy as the alleged victim.
Yeah.
In the case. Ugh. Yeah. Whatever. Best of luck to fucking Cain, man. I really hope things work out all right for him.
Yeah. Cain rules. I'm sure it'll all work itself out in one way or another, whether in this life or the next. Shout out to YoKratom.com for supporting today's show.
Yeah, he'll probably either get out fine or he'll spend the rest of his life in jail. Anyway, Yo Kratom.
YoKratom.com, home of the $60 kilo. We'll be back next week with another great episode of your favorite MMA podcast. Until then, have a great week. Peace.
Yo!